I'm listening here to Zulu Lima 90 India Alpha Romeo Uniform, one of the many special event stations for the 90th anniversary of the IARU. I'm beaming a sort of long path, a skew long path, beaming about 210 degrees there, south-southwest. I did investigate the paths, and he's weaker on the short path, so he seems to be best at around 210 degrees. Now, I'm not working him because I actually have this station in the log already. Actually, if I just type in his call sign in my log, when I worked him on 20 meters CW a week ago or so, and last week, and 20 meters SSB actually the previous day. So I don't need him, but it's interesting to watch and to look at the different signal strengths in the morning. Oftentimes Australia is stronger, much stronger on the long path in the mornings. Sometimes New Zealand is stronger on the short path in the mornings. It's a bit strange like that. You have to investigate the paths. But it's one of the, for me, it's one of the exciting aspects of the hobby, is that you actually really have to work sometimes, you know, to maximise the opportunity to work a station to get them into your log. Some of you have step IR antennas, so you know, with the step IR controller you can just flip the orientation by 180. So if you're beaming short path, you can flip to the long path very quickly. I have a hex beam on a Yaesu rotator, and I can only turn it. Ah well, it's better than having to turn it by hand, I can tell you that for nothing. But I have to wait for the rotator to actually bring the beam around. He's actually coming up in signal strength. Been watching him for a while, and he was peaking at a 5. Now he's peaking at a 7. It's always nice to see New Zealand. Yesterday morning I had the pleasure of a QSO with Zulu Lima 2 India Foxtrot Bravo Dave on 80 meters CW, and I can tell you that's quite an achievement. If you saw my antennas, my homebrew inverted V, which is not up high enough and which is dog-legged, and one leg of which runs down between two houses. It's just not, it's not that it's not ideal. You know, you'd almost look at it and say, how does that thing radiate at all? But in fact, it was my third QSO with ZL on 80 meters, and they were all, I think, at this time of the year. You know, in December, we have a very late grey line. Our grey line is actually just coming up here in the next 10 minutes. It's 8:30 here. Well, it's just past it, as you can see. So we are pretty much at winter solstice. It's the 19th of December, and we're pretty much at solstice now. This is solstice. The sun doesn't really, to any extent, set any further south, really. Certainly not visually. So these are the shortest days, and we have the latest grey line of the year. At about 8, I don't know. Well, it's coming up in the next 5 or 10 minutes. But the thing is that New Zealand is sort of just after going into darkness. So ZL2 yesterday morning, you know, the sun had just set on him, and he was in his dusk. So it's interesting when you get two stations that are, you know, pretty much on the grey line, or in the grey band, as it were, able to work each other. So sometimes there's nothing else to be worked on the air at the moment. There's nothing else there, so sometimes it's nice just to have your radio, sitting on a frequency, listening to a DX station, and just watching his signal strengths. Oh, stronger again now. He's nearly at the 9 there at times. He's working a G station there. So that's ZL90IARU. Strongest on a skewed long path.